You took the plunge and you bought Football Manager 2024, and this is going to be a very basic guide on how to get yourself started. Right then, so straight to start new game, and we'll go into career. This is the basic one that you want to use. Now, our first recommendation when you start a game of Football Manager and you're brand new to it is choose the club that you either support or the one you watch the most. For me, I support Man City, so I'm going to select those. Next, you're going to choose your game mode. Now, Classic Football Manager is all based around the original. What that means is the squads as they are today in real life will be like that from the get-go. Real world and your world are a little bit different, but when you're starting off, I recommend original. You can explore these ones a little bit later on. From here, go down to Advanced Setup. Now, on Advanced Setup, this is where you'll set your leagues up, and depending on how many leagues you want to play and what you're interested in, and how quick you want your game to process. Being new to the game, what we would recommend is to select big leagues in and around your league. So we've selected England, so we're going to use the big European leagues, Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. Back to this screen, and it brings in the leagues selected. You can see they've selected the Bundesliga 2, the lower league in France. If you're not interested in those and you just want the top leagues, it's very easy. You just drop these down and you can select what you need. So down the bottom, you've got advanced options. You can have a little look through these, but the main one is here, disable player attribute masking. What that means is if you get that ticked, it means you'll be able to view your player fully and not have anything hidden. And we recommend that you tick this box, especially when you first start the game. I'd also recommend unticking this if it is ticked to do not add key staff. You want the key staff loaded so you don't have to worry about that. Then select your manager, dead easy, make him look how you want him to look. Now a great thing to do is to make sure that this is ticked here. Teach me about key management concepts. That will give you an in-game tutorial to follow in the early days of your Football Manager career. When it comes to this section, I would always suggest ticking that, suggest badge based on the club you're managing, and it'll sort it out. You can have a little play around with attribute levels here if you so see fit. If not, just use a drop down and select one of the presets. Now you're into the game. And you're going to be great with this screen first, but rather than go through them all, there's a few things I would do first to make your life a little bit easier. The first is go up to staff section up here, select that. This brings everyone at your club, employed by your club as staff members, and they're going to be pretty handy for you. If you go up to the top tabs here and check responsibilities, we're going to take away some things you don't really need to worry about until you're more used to the game. First off, under the staff section, you can see the staff responsibilities. We've got general and contracts, and we're going to delegate a few roles that you don't need to do until you get a little bit more clued up with Football Manager. First section, you want to be in charge of that. That's selecting your team. The rest of it is recruiting your backroom staff. I would delegate all of these, either one at a time like this, or go over to the section over here called Set All, select that, and assign someone to do it for you. What this means is you don't have to worry about recruiting staff. It'll be all done for you and you can get on with other parts of the game. Don't forget to press confirm down the bottom. I would do that for other sections as well, such as contracts. Get them delegated. You don't need to worry about that while you're getting used to this amazing game. Next section is scouting. Until you get used to the scouting setup, get your chief scout doing all this. Now, transfers and contracts, you probably want to be involved in a bit of this, so you can do most of this yourself, such as the top section, find and sign players for the first team. Handle incoming offers for the first team, you might want to do that as well. As it gets a bit lower down into your youth team and B teams, you might want to start delegating this to take a bit of the load off you. Media is if you want to deal with the press conferences. Start with yourself doing them. When they get a bit tedious, you can always come in here and make your assistant manager do all the talking. Big one next is training. This is a part of the game that is quite complicated, and a lot of people will simply let their assistant manager do it. So just delegate it to your assistant manager and keep an eye on it for now via the receiving training emails. Now a big one is match day. We'll go to this now. Touchline shouts will be you. Team talks, obviously you want that to be you. Now the rest of them, under 21s, etc., just make sure that they're selected not to be you. You really don't need that extra workload. And finally, set pieces. I would delegate this initially till you get used to it. Delegate that, but have a little look around the set piece screen when we get there. But for now, delegate it out, especially if you've got a set piece coach. And now we've slimmed down a load of our responsibilities. We can get on with the nuts and bolts, the squad, the tactics, and any easy transfers. So go up to your squad tab up here. It'll bring you to your squad. Now it looks a bit hickledy-pickledy. Everything's all out of order. To make it easy, what I suggest is go to position, select that, and it'll drop it down in position order so you get a good idea of what you've got to work with. From here, let's get over to tactics, and we're going to build our first tactic. So the reason I told you to select the team you watch or support is you're going to have a good idea of how they're set up so you can set up that way. For example, I know Man City like to play control possession or tiki-taka style, so I'll probably select one of those. If you're unsure, the thumbs up will be your assistant manager telling you the favoured style that he would pick. So we've picked tiki-taka, and this is the explanation of it all. Much shorter passing. When I look at it, I think, yeah, that's pretty much what Man City play. Down to choose formation. It's going to give us a few formations that are set up for a tiki-taka style. Again, it's got a thumbs up for a recommendation for one that will suit your squad. But I watch City a lot, so I know they've played more than 4-3-3, so I'm going to go with that. And just like that, it's give you a template to work from. Now again, knowing your club and knowing your players, you'll know if your players are going to fit into these roles here. If you're unsure, a good start point is to go over to quick pick. This means that your assistant manager will pick the best players for each role and position. So now I've got players that the assistant manager thinks are suitable. But if you're more confident in selecting your team, especially if it's one you support, get yourself back over to the tab over here near quick pick, drop that down to clear entire team selection, start picking it yourself, which is what I'm going to do. Now I've put the players in that I think are playing for City most at the minute, and they're all in there. The only problem is that some of the roles don't really fit. For example, advanced playmaker, I wouldn't say that was a Julian Alvarez role, so I'll probably tweak that. So that's what to do. Go through each player and see if you decide that you agree with the roles that the game's given them. If not, and you want to get something close to real life, now it's time for you to tweak it about. There you can see I've put my version of the team in there like that. I've even moved Alvarez forward there. If it was Kevin De Bruyne, I'd probably keep him there, but Alvarez plays a bit more advanced, so I've moved him on. As simple as that, I've now got the team 11 that I recognise from the team I watch every week. You can then have a little look at the in-possession stuff, the team instructions. I wouldn't change too much of it when you're first getting used to it, but if there's anything that you really don't agree with, then do change it. For example, when City play, they tend to really spread the pitch, so I'll probably change the attacking width a little bit wider. Again, this is why it's really recommended to choose a club that you're really familiar with, just to help you learn the basics of the tactics screen. Another great reason why the preset tactics are a great option. Now there's an awful lot of tabs down this side here, but you don't have to worry about a lot of them. You can just get on with it. These are more for when you get more into the game and get that a little bit deeper. But if you want to improve your squad and get some players in, because that's hellish fun as well, get down to the scouting tab and it'll bring you here. Now we've allocated our chief scout to do all our recruitment focuses. He's doing all this for us, so you don't have to worry about that. He's just going to come back with loads of scouting recommendations for you to look through. And if you want to have a look at these players, go up to Scouting Centre there, hit the list tab, and they're going to be all down here. Another great reason why it's good to choose your team when you're first starting is you may know a position that they're lacking in the squad, so you can instantly go looking for that one. You might think your in real life squad are a bit short of a centre back, so we can do that by just knocking position down, comes down into somewhat of a position order. We can scroll down now and have a little look at the recommended centre backs. Todibo pops up and he'd be a pretty good fit for Man City, I think, so maybe I'll go for a transfer bid for him, up to transfer. You can either ask the agent about his availability or go straight into making an offer. Now, of course, there is the option to disregard all of this as well and allocate it out to your director of football, a lot like real life. If you want to do that, go back to the staff tab, go to responsibilities to transfers and delegate here to your director of football. Not forgetting to press the confirm tab. What that now means is he will take charge of transfers, bringing players in for you. You won't have a say in it, but hopefully they'll pick the right ones for you. You can obviously change that as you get used to the game, simply by going back to staff, to responsibilities, to your transfers, and then press the take control tab. And that's it. That's you basically set up, ready to go. I would recommend once you've got your tactic in place like that, if you're not too sure about it, or if you want an alternative, go through the same process, go up to plus, create a new tactic, and you can say to yourself, well, I've tried the tiki-taka approach. Sometimes they do a bit of a high pressing approach as well. So you can select that one, go through the same process, hit one that fits the way your team shapes up, and there you go, you popped back into that with a different set of team instructions based around a different style of player. This one is gegenpress, the first one is more tiki-taka. Don't forget, once you go back to your second version of your tactic, tweak some of the player roles and duties to what you see fit. And also, as you go through the game, keep an eye on the hints and tips tabs down here. It will give you little interesting tips that you can put through into the game. Last little one, if you're setting up for your match and you're unsure about opposition instructions up here, simply ask your assistant to do it and he will assign some OIs to players that he deems fit. First time you come to your set pieces, by the way, it will ask you your preference. I would honestly just follow the staff preference. They'll basically set up your team like they see fit, what's best suited to your team. And again, it's something you can go back to later on and set up for yourself. But when you're first starting out, it's not essential and you'll have a decent routine supplied by your staff. especially if you've got a set-piece coach. But yes, the big takeaway from starting FM from day one is pick a team you're used to, one that you know basically how they play. You'll be amazed at how well that will set you up.